Ret means net-like. So a reticle is a piece of glass that goes in an eyepiece for like a microscope or a telescope that gives markings that you can use to measure things. So in this case, this could be marked off in like micrometers or whatever. And you have a stage micrometer you use to kind of calibrate this so you know how much 10 was and 20 was and everything else. So you know what each unit was. So this would be like a microscope reticle or possibly a reticle for a telescope. Retina is like the back of your eye. There's like a network of veins and blood vessels there that kind of give a net-like appearance. So the retina of the eye. And then reticulated, like a reticulated python over here, is basically constructed, arranged, or marked like a net or a network. So you kind of see this sort of net-like pattern that is in the scale pattern on the snake. Now, retro means behind or backward. So retrograde is basically to move backwards. Like if you watch the planets in astronomy, sometimes they'll look like they're moving backwards, and that is like retrograde motion, and that has to do with the motion of the planets in relation to each other. But for a long time, they'll kind of be going in one direction, and then they'll kind of loop back, and then they'll kind of go again. So they're in retrograde motion. Now, a retrovirus is any of a family of RNA viruses that has the enzyme reverse transcriptase that can basically make a DNA copy or a complementary DNA copy of the viral RNA. And then that DNA is integrated into the host cell's DNA. So HIV is a very good example of a retrovirus here. Retroactive basically means to take effect from an earlier date or a date in the past. So if you get paid retroactively or they give you a pay raise retroactively, they'll go back to a certain date and apply that pay raise. Retrospective, a retrospective is basically looking back and dealing with past events and situations. Kind of spect means to look, so this is looking backwards. So you're looking back at the past and kind of processing information. Rhine means nose or snout. So a rhinoceros, animal with a large horn on its nose. Rhinoplasty basically is like surgery where you have your nose changed, so it's a nose job basically. And then rhinovirus really is any of a group of viruses that really causes the common cold. So common cold is caused by a rhinovirus, really nose virus. So rhiz means root. So rhizome. A rhizome is an underground stem, which basically will put out other shoots and roots as it goes along. So it actually will, it's like a runner from a plant, except it's not on top of the ground, it's underneath the ground. But it will go out and have new plants pop up along it and also put out new roots. The rhizosphere is basically all of the soil, the area of the soil around the roots and all the interactions there. And then rhizomorph is a root-like aggregate of hyphae and certain fungi. So mushrooms have hyphae, which are root-like structures that are underground. And a rhizomorph would be a large group of those that kind of looks like a root. And then rhode means rose or rose-colored. So a rhododendron is a shrub with these sort of pink flowers. Actually, they will change colors depending on the soil they're in. If it's more acidic soil, they turn pink. If it's more basic soil, they'll turn blue. So you can have rhododendrons that are different colors. And then rhodolite is a mineral. It's actually a rhodolite form of garnet that is sort of pink in color. So it's this sort of pink colored mineral, which is actually cut for gemstones.